Hey, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. I'm living without offense. What's up, family, man? Pastor Steph here, man. Look, it's up, man. Everybody you see right here, we still got our knees, y'all. We still got our knees. This the young adult ministry. Put your knees out if you still. No shade, no shade, no shade. We just enjoying them while we still got them. Look, y'all. I'm just here to say, man, shout out to our very own Pastor Battle, who's been in an amazing series called Living Without Offense. And we just here to talk about that, man. So many of us have been blessed by the 4-part series. Now we back. So we're gonna talk about it. But look, I gotta start out and say this. First of all, I'm a little bit offended, right? I'm offended because I didn't get the memo about the shoot game that was gonna take place today.
I think yours is fine though.
No, it's fine.
I got the little, the flip.
Go ahead, man.
No. Y'all,
I was trying to keep up with you.
On live.
y'all ain't gotta
I was
make
trying to do what you, cause I
The whole fit. You got the whole.
Now I'm offended because they lying to me.
No,
No.
Damn, hallelujah for that.
See how they gonna do me? See how they gonna do me?
No shade though.
With that said, we gonna get right to it. We gonna get right to it. Look, y'all. One of the keys that Pastor Battle taught us in part 1 of Living Without Offense was just the importance of understanding how dangerous that anger is. How dangerous anger is. And the scripture tells us that we should be slow to anger, right? So let me throw out this question. In your experience, how does being slow to anger help us to manage this whole offense thing? Why is it important? Why does God call this wisdom versus weakness? Anybody want to?
I can start. I would just say that it gives you the time for your brain to catch up with your current feeling. Like when you're upset and you're angry, I'm on go. I know me. I'm on go, and I tend to be a little petty. So I know that when I am in that space, I have to really sit, like, Ashley, chill out. Why are you upset? What's wrong? What's going on? So that I don't unintentionally hurt somebody for a temporary feeling. Like, it can have a long-lasting effect, and I don't ever want to do something like that when it's literally, I'm a little upset right now. I'm gonna get over it. Right. So trying to be mindful that my words and my actions have power, and they can last longer than the moment I'm in it.
Right. Yeah. Man, Pastor Battle was hitting it on with them examples on Easter. The one example is that glasses example. Because to me, if I'm slow to anger, I'm taking my time looking at it through different lenses. Like that's the time that I can be using to say, you know what? It's like 6:30 in the morning. Maybe they're not a morning person, or maybe they're having a bad day, or this is a stressful job, so maybe, I let it go, or I shouldn't maybe care about their tone. Let me just keep it moving. Like looking at it from a different lens versus saying, I'm only looking at it from what you did to me or how you hurt me,
Yeah. That's honest. That's real, man. Let's be transparent for a little bit, right? Because this is not an easy thing, right, for anybody, right? Was anybody up here? Would you say you struggled with anger growing up, like as a youngin? Was that tough for you? Anybody here?
Oh yeah.
I would say that I know in college, I was very intentional about not wanting to be known as an angry person. I think that I'm a naturally assertive person, and once I found my voice, it kind of like I'm not letting no one take it from me, and I found myself being overtly aggressive for no reason, or feeling like I had to make my presence known, and it came across as anger. And I'm like, I don't want to be known as being angry. And I think Pastor Battle did a sermon sometime when I was away at school in New York, and I was watching online, and he asked us about just what if we died tomorrow, what would we want to know us as? What were our defining things? And in that moment, I'm like, I asked some of my friends, like, come on, give me the tea. And they were like, angry or aggressive was like high on their list. And I was like, oh yeah, that stops today. So I like made it an attention devotional in my phone that I allow myself to be angry or not to be angry. I have the power and control. Don't give it to no one else. And that kind of changed for me how I treated anger.
Yeah, that's so good. Thank you.
And I think to answer your question, I don't think that I realized as a child, like I wasn't angry as a child, I don't think it reared its head until I was an adult, and I started now seeing different things, like putting names to things like, oh, that's trauma, oh, that's da 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 da, that's this, that, and the third. But it came from like things that happened. Like I didn't realize it was making me angry as a child, but now as an adult, I can see, like I can trace it back to like, oh, that was cause little Timmy pushed me down at the playground.
That's good.
Now I don't like being rejected.
That's good.
Like, so it's connected in that way.
Yeah, that's so good, man. And I mention that because as adults, we tend to justify our anger because we're smarter now and we feel like we have legitimate reasons to be angry, right? I can think back for me, I realized for me, one of the things that would drive me to anger is when I felt like there was some type of injustice, right? Like somebody was doing me wrong and I had proof of it, right? And so I had to just look back at some times in my life where I experienced injustice, right? Where I know what it's like to experience being bullied, right? And dealt with in some unfair ways, right? And so if we don't go back and check some of the things that fuel our anger from childhood, to your point, we'll be adults, 35, 45, but still dealing with 15-year-old challenges that we never addressed.
Right.
So now the boss or our friend who bothered us a little bit, or our family member, they're getting punished for meals that somebody else didn't feed us, right? And so sometimes we got to go back and check that stuff, man, because it's not easy. Let's go here. Other than what some of the stuff we just addressed, right? Childhood. What are some other things that make it hard for us to overlook offenses, right? Especially from those who are close to us.
I would say one thing that I've learned that I've done was put expectations on people. And that's when I realized, I said, oh, you know what? This is my fault because I expected you to do what I already did for you. You know, I expected you to love me the way that I loved you. Or I expected you to talk the way I talk, or, you know, like I could be emotional at times, like good and bad, right? And sometimes, like, just a random example, I can send somebody a really long text message about appreciation and, you know, just again, about the example Pastor Battle did with the instruments, right? And I can say, man, I just want to say I appreciate you. I thank you so much. All this long paragraph. And somebody else can reply back. Get back.
Yeah, back.
Yeah, of course, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I used to like, what?
I gave you all this.
Or would they, you know, the last couple years on with the, you know, just thumbs up.
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
ooh, that, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it still get me to the day.
Right.
But I had to learn, it's like, I can't put expectations on other people to respond the way I respond, to love the way I love. Or because I helped you when you was down, it's like, I'm down, you ain't gonna help me?
Yeah.
So I had to learn to take those expectations off of people, you know, that to release me of the disappointment.
And I'll add to that, Nico. I think that it also is a lack of perspective. We so often get offended because we don't know what the other person is going through. And I feel like closeness can sometimes blind that perspective. Like, oh, you were my parent. Oh, you were my sibling. Oh, there's no way that you could offend me in such a way, being who you are. But we don't have the perspective of like the demons that they may be facing, or what they didn't learn, or what they're going back to Pastor Battle's point, what they aren't even able to give you. So I think that's something too.
Aaron said something that was really big. I feel like Dr. Anita said it, but I think a huge part of us taking offenses, you know, just being offended by the things that the close people to us do, is us personalizing and internalizing how other people act. And sometimes we know people can intentionally be harmful, but we just said it in some of our culture codes for off script, assume positive intentions. Like, I think that's part of it. Like, most of the time Dr. Anita worded it like this: we are just casualties of other people's traumas or bad day or whatever. And instead of just kind of like they say, using another perspective and taking yourself out of it, we make everything personal to us. And it's like, if they said this, they gotta mean this, and they don't know. And it's sometimes it really don't even be that. Like, maybe you were offended in a process, but you were just honestly, and maybe that doesn't make it better, but you were just a casualty in somebody else's day and their life happening. And I think we just take things too personal. Most of the time it's not about us. So I think that's when it comes to the people close to you. Yeah.
I think that's hard too, because I think that we put a level of trust in people that we care about. People we don't care about can't affect us as much. But when we've invested our time and our energy and our love into somebody, it is very hard to, with Nico said about expectations, to believe that these people can fail us. I think that's the humanity in us. That's why we need Jesus. That's why we need an example of how to love different, because in our own flesh, we gonna fail. We're gonna be rude. We're gonna act it. Our day is going to affect how we treat people. That's just the reality of it. But when we don't see it as our flesh, we get offended when we need to see it as these are fleshly people. That only God makes us perfect. God makes us loving. It is Him in us that gives us the grace to be able to deal with people. And if you ain't got it, baby, pray, because it is Jesus saving a lot of people, okay? Jesus saves people every day.
Come on.
Every day.
Be on the prayer.
Come on, man.
Like, yeah, it's Jesus that saved y'all.
That's good. We got to put her cash out for an offering. It's going to be right here, right above my fingers. Now that's so good, man. And to your point, we got to have space for just grace, because a lot of times we get to the point where when somebody offends us that's close to us, one of the famous things we like to say is, I would never do that.
Right.
I can't believe, because I would never do that, right? As Pastor Battle mentioned. But here's the thing. You might not do that, but we have done something.
Yeah.
Right? And I like to say we all have our weaknesses and wounds. And mine may not be yours, but I got mine, right? And so that humbles me. I think it's so arrogant and convenient to say I would never do that.
Yeah.
You ain't took your last breath yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't lived long enough to know what you want and do, but you have lived long enough to know you will do something, right, that has hurt somebody else. So I think it's a level of humility that we need to apply the things y'all talking about. But let's go a little deeper, y'all, right? Imagine, getting hurt, feeling betrayed, right? And you want to let go, but there's something in you that's like, I gotta do something to let them know I'm hurt, right? To let them feel. Just any petty people here, any petty people online, my hand is the highest.
I feel like I've reformed petty. I don't know. I mean, like,
As her sister, it's in her a little bit. But definitely better. Yeah.
if I just feel like I just got a small little drop left, the Lord still. If I ain't have no petty, then what would the Lord have to work on, huh? Like, just a little bit. But like, I really do feel like over the biggest lesson, one of the biggest lessons I learned in my 20s was God fights all battles for you, and God fight way better than I can fight anytime. Like, and I think that I've transitioned and watched how in the moments that, like, situations where I feel like, oh yeah, you did me wrong, and maybe it was intentionally done, and I'm kind of just like, you know what, you got me once, you won't get me twice. But just watching how, and now granted, we know vengeance is the Lord's, but I don't necessarily believe that God be like looking to ruin other people because they have done things to us.
Right.
But like to watch how God really does make all things work for good, or like turn things around. It's like, I never could have did it this way, so I'm gonna let God do it. And I don't know, sister.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll back that up in saying that, like, mine doesn't necessarily show up. It's a form of pettiness. I have the capacity, because I'm growing.
Okay.
I have the capacity to be extremely passive aggressive. And I feel like that's because I am non-confrontational. So I'm not going to like confront you outright, but you going to know I'm upset. I'm going to make you feel like I'm upset.
Right.
I will cold shoulder the mess out of somebody
Right.
quick and feel good about it too. But I think that, like, so offense doesn't always look like aggression. I'm not aggressive in my approach, but I get offended very easily. And sometimes I have to like check myself on that too. Like,
That's so real quick. Jackie Hill Perry said something, and it was in a relational sense, but withholding is still a form of offense. So like when you mention passive aggressiveness, that's doing everything but communicating with your words that maybe somebody hurt or offended you, and you start to maybe like you're ignoring them, and that's just withholding your communication, or you're withholding your love, or withholding your things. And I think that's such an underrated form of just moving in aggression. So I love that you brought that up, because we love to be like, oh, I ain't doing nothing, but we doing everything but saying what we mad about.
That's real. Yeah. I like to say it like this. It's like the people who are super aggressive, that's like your AK-47 people, right? Mm-hmm. The passive aggressive is still a gun, but it might have a silencer on it.
Yeah.
Right.
And so the other one may not be loud, but it's still lethal, right? And that's what Pastor Battle talked about, just in terms of making sure that we don't harbor resentment, right? And really giving things over to God, letting Him handle it. I wanted to say one more thing to your point before we go to the last question. Just in terms of God's justice, right? When somebody hurts us and us needing to turn things over to God, like, you know what, God, you handle it, right? We at the same time, I think we got to remember that while God is just, him using His justness doesn't mean He eliminates the other attributes that He has.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we be like, God, you just. He like, I'm still gracious.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still merciful.
Right.
So you got to trust me to decide how I'm going to handle it. But don't expect me to only be just. I'm going to still be all of the other characteristics and attributes that I am, and you got to let me handle it. So me handling it might not look like the justice you think it should look like, right? Because
You want us to pray fire down? You want us to pray fire down?
Right.
We'll pray fire down right now. Jesus, say the word. We're going to pray fire down.
Say the word. Yeah. So his ways above. Look, we gotta go. But let me end this in this way. Can anybody think of somebody who has offended you? Maybe it was far in your past or recent, right? And yeah, if you would want to help somebody that might be watching today, and just in terms of how you handle that situation or how you are currently navigating that situation.
I'ma say, since we here, I'ma say, just in ministry, you know, I was literally, man, this is crazy, because I literally was just talking to my mother about this. Like, in ministry, I realized that, like, you know, you could easily get offended because sometimes things can move so fast, and you might get offended off of, I say, either you, or it could be a mix between you and the enemy will try to make you get offended off of somebody's tone, or the way they talk to you, or the words, or, man, why you text me, why you call me, or why you call me, we could text me, man, or why you put me, all of those things you could get offended by. And this is like a new phrase that I like. Everybody got a job to do. And it's like, sometimes people are just doing their job, and you might not like the way they doing their job, but they doing their job. And you gotta realize, you gotta ask yourself, well, what is my job? And if my job is to, whether it's to serve the youth, the young adult, whether it's SALT, whether it's, you know, to greet the people, you know, whether it's to, you know, be an usher, whatever it is, parking lot, like, my job, I'm serving the Lord, and I'm doing my job, I'm here for the people. And little things might happen along your way and along your day, but do your job. And your job is to help the Lord with whatever it is, whether even beyond ministry, right? But specifically, my example, I've had moments where, wait, hold up, oh, why this happened? But sometimes when you're thinking about those moments of offense, it can pause you. And when you paused, you're stopping your progress and what you need to be doing.
Yep.
And that's what the enemy wants.
Yep.
He wants you to pause and
That's
stop
good.
before, and you pause, and that's like 5 minutes. If your thinking turns from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, and during those 10 minutes, you could have been talking to somebody and greeting them and walking them inside the service.
Sometimes it'll have you down for more than 10 minutes.
Man.
Days, weeks. Yeah, and you're
Hey.
walking away from assignments. That's so good, man. Anybody else want to?
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry, Aaron. I was going to say to advocate for yourself. Like, I think that obviously we'll be offended, we'll offend, but how far that offense goes, and do we allow it to become resentment? Do we harbor it longer than we need to? Is in us communicating. Like, don't remember what sermon series it was, but SBI. Like, we know that's something we live, by around here, and it really does work. When some people, it's very unintentional. Like, we know offenses happen whether it's intentional or not, but some people just need you to communicate, and most of the time for yourself, you need to communicate like, this action hurt my feelings. And I'm not saying that you are the action. I'm not saying that this is how you feel, but this particular wording, this particular action hurt my feelings. And just advocate for yourself and how you feel. Because I think that sometimes when we don't advocate and when we like just allow things to kind of like go, we sweep them under the rug. And then it's just like this massive thing. So talking it out with the person, like, rather, because I mean, you can't SBI with 5 other people.
Right.
But like really going to that person and living out Matthew 18 for what it says. Like, don't go gossip about how people, I don't want to use the word gossip, but hey, gossip about how people made you feel. Because I think that other people's feelings and opinions start to alter how you really feel about something. Like, I'll just say recently, I had a situation happen that was not funny. It was not funny. It was a little traumatic. It was definitely, shh, Ashley. It was definitely very offensive. And
Amen.
I'm going to say that I misstepped, and God like really convicted me or to jack me about it later. But like, me and my friends was on the phone, like, and everybody's opinions was just flowing in my ear. And I like remember for a second that when I actually had to talk to this person, it was like, the person could tell that like a lot of the emotions that I was giving towards them were other people's and they weren't mine. And I think that sometimes when we don't SBI and when we go and kind of like, you trying to like, you want people to be on your side. Like, let's be for real.
Right. That's all
When
you
you're
want.
offended, you want people to agree with you. You want people to understand why
Like,
you're offended.
You know what I mean? You feel me?
Do you know what I mean?
me.
To get you caught up into feeling like, and maybe their emotions are valid, but their emotions are also coming from a place and experiences that you don't necessarily have. So talk to that person and that person only, so that other people's opinions, thoughts, feelings, traumas don't alter and change how you will respond naturally yourself.
That's good.
Dang.
Hey, right.
The mic drop is crazy.
Oh, my bad.
That's real.
Phone good?
On the phone is insane.
I'm sorry. Don't be offended. Do you want to close this up?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at it. So I feel like this series gave language to stuff that I was already trying to work on anyway. So a little bit of a testimony. My New Year's goal was to let go of an offense of somebody who is very, very close to me. I said, you know what? Like, I want to let it go. I want to be free from it so that I can live my life. Because I also realized I was being held back from life because I was so focused on them and not focused on living for me. So, like I said, this series came about and it gave language to things. And I'm now at a place where I can say we are actively, he doesn't even know that he is an offender in this situation, but I can say that I am actively letting it go. I am actively like seeking to have like loving conversation with them. Not to go like too deep into the story, but like I think it was after like part 1 or part 2, I called them for like the first time in a long time, and I just told them like, hey, I just want to tell you like I love you.
I'm so proud.
But I meant it when I said it, and that was the first time that I meant it.
Yeah, clap that up,
Proud
chat.
of you.
Thank y'all. So, and I can even say, like, it's been freeing. It has been so freeing to, like, let it go. And going back to, like, perspective is everything. I don't even know some of the stuff that he dealing with. I will never understand. I'll never even know. But just having the perspective to know that, like, I'll never know it. So I'ma love him where he at. Because somebody loves me where I'm at.
Come on now. Come on.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
Oh,
my
Lord.
God. My God.
Him and these mic drops
Hey.
have to chill.
At least it didn't hit the
We
phone.
need to let it go. We gotta let it go.
Let it
We could
go.
be here all day, man, but we know you got stuff to do. Thank y'all, Zion Anywhere, for hanging out with the Young Adult family. Look, as we wrapped up this thing called Living Without Offense. We're going to wrap it up, but Pastor Battle is keeping it going. We want to challenge you. What are you holding on to that God is calling you to let go of, right? And I want to call you to the highest place, wherever God would have you to be as it pertains to that situation. Because sometimes, you know where we usually stop at in the healing process? We usually say, I think I'm good now because at least I want the best for this person. And that's progress, but that's not the ultimate place, y'all. You can want the best for a stranger.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? It is progress, but we want to get to the point where you can do something like Aaron did, right? That was beyond his comfort zone, that required some level of sacrifice, that if at any point God was to whisper in your ear, put something on your heart to do that you don't feel like doing, that's when you know you are at a whole nother place of healing. Not just when you sit back and say, well, I just want the best for that person, but don't come around me, right? We want to challenge you beyond that, man, so that God can really show his great works through your life and to other people. Amen.
Amen.
Let it go.
Man.
Let it go.
Let it go, let it go, let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Living without offense.